Right, we're here in Shapier on Parliament Street. It's day 8 of the Kilkenny Arts Festival. Sitting here with Gerry Godley, music curator. How has it all been going for you?
Great this year, I have to say. I mean, this is my. It's all a bit of a blur.
You're the longest one.
I'm the longest. I'm like the old man of the sea, you know. But this is my 6th or 7th year, I think, and audience-wise, certainly this has been the best for me, you know, for the stuff I do, which is fantastic. You know, it's really exceeded my expectations. The music's been great, and I think the curator model really works here now. It feels like over the last 3 years, it's really started to gel, and it's like everybody involved has a kind of very good sense of what the Kilkenny appetite is, what's most compatible with the venues we have, and I think like the set, for example, has really had a big impact. I mean, we're all really doing the dog on it this year, you know, but it really has made a big difference to the festival, I think. Yeah. Certainly to the music.
Well, it's definitely suiting the acts. I mean, Ali Muller band on the opening night, fantastic. Innisfree, Kaylee band, yeah. Michael Buckley was down. You had the county sessions. Yeah. You got such a really, really good blend of everything.
Yeah, thanks. I mean, I think that's the kind of thing that the curator bit is really, it's about that. It's really about, I think you have to kind of avoid only presenting the stuff you like or just being in a kind of narrow focus. You have to think sort of expansively about it. And different things work for different audiences, you know. Like, it's very interesting with Andy Irvine last night. Like, that was a kind of, the crowd was kind of old. I mean, I hate to use that sort of pejorative term, but I mean, I shouldn't have been surprised by that, because it was kind of like people who would have grown up with Andy's music through kind of Plankstein, Sweeney's Men, and Patrick Street, and all of that stuff. So in a way, you kind of, there's a line that Tom Waits has that I'm fond of quoting, where he says that somebody asked him about his approach to composition, and he said that he didn't see himself as a composer, but more like somebody who ran an escort service for sounds, you know. But I'm like the guy who runs the escort service for the musicians and the audiences, you know.
Come here, speaking of that, and just trying to cater for all of the different audiences, how did you reach the point of your programme for this year? I mean, we got chatting with Tom Creed about the theatre show. He'll go and he'll see like 300 or 400 shows in a year, and he'll pick out the acts that have worked at different festivals. How did you reach the variety and even the acts that are on this year's programme?
It's a combination of, I mean, I'd be like Tom, I see a lot of work, you know, I'm travelling a lot, I'm seeing gigs all the time. Fergus Lennon used to be at the Dublin Theatre Festival, used to say, I see these shows so you don't have to, you know. But of course, seeing the work is really, really important. But then there's sort of practical considerations, like who's on the road. Like, actually, for the kind of stuff I do, August is not a great time, because most kind of things like, say, for example, jazz festivals and world music festivals, really it's about July. A lot of people are gone off the road for August, so that means there's things we'd like to do, but really, from a financial and environmental perspective, I'm not really interested in flying people in from the US to do one-off shows. And then the suitability of the venues, you know, in terms of, I mean, I think we are still kind of limited here in Kilkenny. You know, we could still, I mean, if we had a good 800 to 1,000 seater, I think we could really make a lot of interesting things happen. So it's a kind of combination of things, and then there's an aspect to it that's just actually about being intuitive. And I think that the longer you're programming, the more you start to trust your nose. It's a little bit like wine or something, you know, because there has to be an aspect in it where you can't be too risk averse. You've got to try and get a balance, I think, between, as far as the audiences are concerned, between getting stuff that kind of meets their expectations, and then getting stuff that kind of confounds their expectations. So there's always a sort of a tension, you know, between the desire of the audience to be gratified by what they see and the need to be, you know, kind of pushing the boat out a little bit in terms of the content. And it's the job of the programmer, I think, to kind of mediate that line, you know. So I think you get. It's definitely one of those things where you get better at it the longer you're at it, because you start to trust yourself more. And if something goes wrong, you know, it's not the end of the world. You know, it's nothing to the sinking of a ship. It's 2 hours. You know, if you make a bad call. You know, I never make bad calls, of course. You know.
Evidently, by the turnouts in this year's festival, anyway.
Yeah, that's been really nice to see.
Things have been really, really picking up. We're heading into the closing weekend, or the second weekend of the festival. Friday.
Yeah.
Today.
Well done.
If I can remember that. Yeah, it's Friday today. So you got music on Friday and you've got music on Saturday.
Yeah.
Who's coming up for the week?
Well, tonight is Canona Number One, which of course is a fantastic band from Kinshasa that has been a real story in kind of world music circles. They come to us via Belgium, via a great record label there called Crowned, that have always done really good stuff around, world music, such whatever that term might mean, but they've also done a lot of stuff around dance music and Brazilian music, so they've kind of got a strong instinct for music with a very, very strong kind of dance rationale to it. And Canona are, they're a great example of, it's music really that has moved in from the Congolese countryside in a way and moved to the city, and in the process of moving to the city the music has undergone pretty profound changes. It's become amplified, and it's become amplified in a kind of DIY way. Now unfortunately they can't take their whole rig on the road, but when they perform in Kinshasa it's with homemade pickups and homemade PA systems made from kind of cannibalized car parts and things like that, and it kind of has a natural distorted effect that is very attractive, very freaky and very attractive. And the music is very, it's got that sense, it's got what I call rhythmic intelligence, which is that sense of, very, very heavy repetition, and that sort of kind of has a strong chemical, a natural chemical effect on your body, and so you're just kind of compelled to really get involved with the music on a rhythmic level. And there's nothing subtle about it, And I think it's what's going to happen on the set tonight is going to be very interesting, because Daniel Suzuki is on afterwards, and it's a perfect example of that kind of happenstance that sometimes in the program, where it's not necessarily by design, but just what the various programmers are up to, kind of, sidles up to each other and rubs up against each other in a really nice way. And then on Saturday, we're busy on Saturday. We've got 3 shows on. We're going to start at 1 in St. Canice's with Taramp, which is a group from Francesco Teresi. It's actually a pianist who was here last year. Yeah, he was here with his piano trio. And this is a project with some Irish traditional musicians and some classical musicians, actually. They're kind of exploring Eastern Mediterranean traditional music and some Balkan music and things like that. And it's always nice to, it'll be a bit of, it's kind of nice to give an act like that an opportunity to kind of step up to play in the environs of somewhere like Canice's. And then at 6 we're going to have Fiddle, Tierno Munich.
Long sold out.
Long sold out. It's in maybe one of the smallest venues in the city, but for me always one of the best, and that's Clears, and I'm always committed to putting some shows into Clears because I just think it's a great room, And then tomorrow night we're going to have the Dublin City Jazz Orchestra at the Hotel Kilkenny with Anna Heffernan, which is, it's really, it's 18 of the best musicians in the country. In terms of what I've put together in terms of jazz this year, there is actually a little bit of a nostalgia trip to it, because when Michael Buckley was here, he was playing old Broadway standards. Every Christopher was playing even older music again from New Orleans and Paris between the wars and things like that. And of course the jazz orchestra will play a lot of Count Basie stuff and things like that. And in the previous years, I've done lots of stuff that has sort of kind of push the boat out in terms of the kind of sharp end of what's happening in jazz today. So it's kind of nice to just take a step back and listen to all this stuff too.
Cool. Well, that's pretty much it, really. Thanks for taking the time for having a chat with us. I'm going to assume you'll be doing it again next year.
Faithful curatorial stuff.
Brilliant. Okay, cheers, Derek.